Alright guys, welcome to another video or another learning video. We're still in interactivity because this is a little bit, how can I say, a big chapter, and it contains tons of stuff for your user interface. It may say adding interactivity, but this is all a user interface. This is all advanced user interface. That's what I will tell you. Alright, state is a snapshot. State variable might look like a regular JavaScript variable that you can read and write to. However, state behaves more like a snapshot. Setting it does not change the variable you already have, but instead triggers a re-render. Setting state triggers re-render. Unable to establish connection. Okay, I'm gonna refresh it a little bit. Now this will reload this. Alright. In this example, when you send it, set is true, it tells the React to re-render the UI. Okay. Okay. Submit set is true. The value, the use state value gets changed to true. And when it's true, it goes like this. This is actually if-else statement, but you know, there's one thing they can do is on click, do this and run this, return this. Instead of if else, it can change it to on click, but it's alright. They're literally explaining how the setting state render function send message. Here's what happens when you click the button on submit. Event handler executes set is true. Set is true accrues a new render. React re-renders the component according to the new is sent value. Let's take a closer look at the relationship between state and rendering. Rendering takes a snapshot in time. Rendering means that React is calling your component, which is a function. The JSX you return from that function is like a snapshot of the UI in time. Its props, event handler, and local variables were all calculating using its state at the time of the render. Unlike a photograph or a movie frame, the UI snapshot you return is interactive. It includes logic like event handler that specifies what happens in response to inputs. React then updates the screen to match this snapshot and connects event handler as a result. Pressing a button will trigger click handler from your JSX when React re-renders a component. Alright. And you submit, it re-renders. Alright. Form send. Updating the DOM tree. As the component's memory, state is like a regular variable that disappears after your function returns. State actually lives in React itself, as if on a shelf outside of your function. When React calls your component, it gives you a snapshot of the state for that particular render. Your component returns as a snapshot of the UI with the fresh set of props and event handlers in its JSX, all calculated using the state values from that render. You tell React to update the state. React updates the state value. React passes a snapshot of the state value into the component. Okay. More like a snapshot, it just forwards the function, I believe, but it's alright. They call it a snapshot. let it be the snapshot. Now, here we go. Here's a little experiment to show you how this works. In this example, you might expecting that clicking +3 would increment count 3 times. See what happens when you +3, it will go 1. Notice number 1 increment per click settings that only changes for the increment next render. During the first number was 0. Why it was called on click rendered? Wait, we're using use state, but it still doesn't change. Yeah, it's already explained, but they're explaining it again. But let's see. Okay. State over time. Oh, that was fun. Try guess what next button. What clicking alert? On click, it shows the number and adds a +5. If you use a substitution method before, you can guess that shows alert shows 0. But what if you put a timer on the alert so it only fires after the component re-rendered? Would it say 0 or 5? Have a guess. It will say 5. 0. Now it will show 5. Why? I mean, the alert comes after this, but here the alert comes after this too, but what? Surprise, if you use the substitution method, you can see the snapshot of the state passed to the alert. That stored in React may have changed by the timer alerts the runs, but it was scheduled using a snapshot. That state of the time user interacted with it. A state variable never changes within a render, even if the event handler code synchronizes inside that on-click value numbers continuous was called. Okay, because of the alert called, when we click, it literally takes this number and does not take anything set number, but after you click, it changes the old value. You press send button, sending hello to Alice. Before 5 seconds delay, you can change the value to the field Bob. Okay, send and change it to Bob. You said hello to Alice. Click and change it to Alice. And another click. Hello to Bob. Hello to Alice. It shows the same. React keeps the state values fixed within one renders event handler. You don't need to worry about whether state changed. All the code is running. But if you want to read this latest, you want to use state update function. Okay. This is kind of a little bit complicated one because you send something and you change it. When it changes or how it changes, it based on the rendering method. How can I simply explain it? Let's just say there's an egg and you break the egg, but okay, that's not a good explanation. Alright, let's just say a message here and you erase it. When you erase the message, it disappears, but if you press Ctrl Z, the text gets back in. How does the text get back in? Because it is stored in a certain memory and it's get back. That's like a system memory, you can say that. Similar to that, whenever there's something happens and it stores in a previous value, and before you copy another value, for example, you erased it, right, and you just erase another and you press Ctrl Z, the one you latestly erased will be the one to return, not the one before that. Because of that, this value gets overwritten by this value, and if you press another Ctrl Z, it will come back. But that's not the point. The point is, if you do an action and that action will be saved, and you do another action and that action will be saved, so it's like a data that gets stored in a short temporary memory file. That's also one of the snapshot rendering method. Oh, it may not be a good example, but it's alright. Alright, try out some challenges. Here's a crosswalk light. Press change to stop. Change to walk. They said challenge. Add an alert. Click handler. This is kinda Right, what should I do? Should I put like if else statement, or if I just put I mean, stop, walk. Stop is red, walk is if walk called stop alert. Do I have to add toolbar? Stop walking. Okay, it's a bit complicated. Let's not dwell with it. I know you either use if or walk statement, or you send a alert message saying oh, they literally put an alert. Walk stop is next. Walk is next. Okay, they simply add alerts in the function. Another boolean called. Oh, that's kinda, instead of if or else statement, instead of if statement, you'll literally do another boolean here, and it's a simple code. Oh god. I mean, that was kind of bad thinking, I guess. It's alright. It's alright, it's now or never. But if it's set walk calls no difference, that the render walk is fixed. Calling set walk will only change the next render, but it will not affect the event handler from the previous render. This line might seem counterintuitive at first, but it makes sense if you read it as if the traffic lights shows walk now. Okay. Wait, what? Anyway, they showed only one alert here because alright. Next one, next one is Korean switch of state updates. I get a feeling there are tons of tutorial in one state. If this is what interactivity, a user interface, or if we have this much of a user interface, I'm pretty sure this is needed. But I feel like not like every website is going to have this much. Setting a stat variable will queue another render, but sometimes you might want to perform multiple operations on the value before queuing the next render. To do this, it helps to understand how React batches the state updates. You will learn what batching is and how React uses it to process multiple state updates. How to apply several updates at the same state in a row. React batch state update. Updating the same data variable multiple times before next time it renders. What changed here? The variable. Because it gets value right now. That is what I tried to do earlier, but it didn't work. But now I know why. Because I put equal, but I'm not supposed to put equal. I'm supposed to put arrow. This is something I tried to do it in the earlier version, but it failed because that's not what I have to do. I have to do this. It's alright. Now I understand. If this doesn't work, I'll put an arrow. Here's how React works to these lines. Function ready to add a q. Understand. Nice. What happens if you update the state after replacing it? What about this event handler, number will? What will the render next? It will render 6 and 7. I tell you. 6, 7. Oh wait, it goes 12? Why? The end value is just 1 here. It goes 6, 6. Okay, remember number plus 5. And the end number is not shown here because it's just an end value. Oh, set number. Oh, fuck. That's so my fault. I'm not looking at the set number. Set number. This number called here and it goes here, and set number. This is 5 and it gets added, and this is 5 and it gets added, so it's 6, 6, 6, 6. They're going to explain it here. Set number plus number is 0, so set number add reacts to the replace with 5. Set number is 5 here, and it plus updated function. Reason they add to 5, so replace 5 with unused 0 and returns 5, and the end set n. So 5 plus 5 plus 1 is equals 6. We have stored 6 as the final result of the user state. You may have noticed that actually works like set state and exit, but yen is unused. Yes, that's what I was kind of weird. If there was a instead of n, if there was a number here, and I would have noticed, but what happens if you replace the state after updating it? Let's try one more example. What do you think the number will be in the next render? Um, Let me calculate it. 42. I believe the first one will be 6 and the second one will be 48. 42. It's not increasing because the set number is literally 42. Oh my god, that is so fucking cringe. But it's alright. Because they're unused and it gets replaced with 6. Yeah, the set number is just 6. It's alright. It's alright. Try out some challenges. I'm pretty sure I'll fail in the challenges. Okay. Alright, let's explain. Let's read this. You're working on an art marketplace app that lets you submit multiple orders for an art item at the same time. Each time the user presses buy button, the pending counter should increase by 1. After 3 seconds, the pending counter should decrease and the completed should increase. However, pending counter does not behave as intended when you click buy. It decreases -1, which should not be possible, but if you click fast forward twice, behave unpredictably. Alright, let's see what they have done here. They have set bending to state, handle click, set bending, bending +1, awaits delay, set bending -1, and set complete +1. Okay, this is actually good because once you click, it literally changes the bending and await delay 3000 seconds. After that, it negates the minus bending and it adds to 1. This handle click is good. Bending completed, on click, handle click, by function delay ms, return new promise. I get a feeling this is where the problem may be. By it goes -2. Why? What? Add 1 to 9 and 1, but instead of 1 it goes to 0. Okay, I don't understand. Inside the handle, click the event handler. The value of bending and complete corresponded what they were at the time of the click event. For the first render, bending was 0, second bending mass, which is wrong. Since you want to increment or decrement the counter rather than set them to concrete value determined during a click, you can instead pass the updated function. Okay, it's a mathematical and re-render calculations. I may have failed this challenge. Now implement the state queue yourself. What? In this challenge, you will re-implement a tiny part of React from scratch. It's not hard as it sounds. Scroll to the soundbox preview. Notice shows 4 test cases. They correspond the example to your seen in the earlier paper. Your task to implement get final state function so that it returns the correct result for each of those cases. If you implement it correctly, all 4 tests should pass. You will receive 2 arguments. Base state is the final initial state length, and the queue is an array which contains a mix of numbers like 5 and the updater function. So the final cycle, your tag is to return the final state just like the tables on the pages shows. Wait, what am I supposed to do here? Is there any errors or something? Okay, I have to initiate the final get final state. Okay, I don't know what to do. This is literally overwhelming. No, I have to do the once it was here, but it's kind of like a long process. It's not something that I can do it in a few minutes. Okay, you know what? Forget it. I'm not gonna do this. For let update of queue type of function. See, I knew it. Why am I supposed to gonna come up with this in order to get the results? Besides, let's see what they did. Oh wait, they didn't explain what they didn't. Hello? You're supposed to change the result, and to do that, what they did here was for let update of queue, if type of update function final state is equal to update final state, else finish. Okay, they didn't explain what they did, but base state queue join expected result style actual expected read your result actual correct wrong. This is all boolean, but where's the value? How do you see the value? Alright, this is a kind of weird one. Alright, let's ignore it. Let's move to the next one. Updating object in the same state can hold any kind of JavaScript value, including objects, but you shouldn't change objects that you hold in React state directly. Instead, when you want to update an object, you need to create a new one. Alright, let me tell you this. All these are kind of different type of functions, but I don't think they're really going to be useful for a real life projects. But learn them just in case if you need to know about fundamentals in certain types of codes, because you see, it's like a school. There are things you learn at the school and they are not useful in real life, but they are something called base educations for a reason. But still, just learn them and keep the knowledge in your mind. You may forget it, this may not be useful, but it's in the documents, so we are learning it. Update the object in state, and this is like a moving red dot. The problem is bit of a code, the pointer e. On pointer move position. This code modifies the object assigned to position from the previous render. But without using state setting function, React has no idea the object has changed. So React does not do anything in response. It's like trying to change the order after you've already eaten the meal. While mutating state can work in some cases, we don't recommend it. You should treat the stat value you have access to in a render as read-only. To actually trigger a render in this case, create a new object and pass it to a state setting function. With set position, you're telling React to replace the position with the new React render components. Set position. Wait, what? That's what here, but it didn't work. This code modifies the object assigned to position from previous render, but without state setting function, React has no idea that object contains. So React does not do anything in response. It's like trying to change order after you already eaten the meal. While mutating a state can work in some cases, we don't recommend it. You should treat the state value you have access in a render as read only. To actually triggering in this case, pass it to setting function. On pointer move set position, you're telling React to replace the position with this new object and render the component again. Notice how red dot now follows the pointer when you touch it on preview area. Yeah. Position relative, position absolute. So if I change it to relative, will it work? Wait, what's the difference between these two codes? I don't understand. You know what? Ignore it. That's kind of not understandable for me right now. Maybe in the future I will understand. Copying objects with the res spread syntax. In the previous example, position objects is always created fresh from the current cursor position, but often you will want to include existing data as a part of a new object you're creating. For example, you may want to update only one field in form, but keep the values from all devices. For example, this line mutates from state from a past render. The only way to get the behavior you're looking for is to create new object and pass it to set person, but here you also want to copy existing data into it only because only one of the field has changed. And use object spreading syntax so that you don't need to copy every property separately. The new form works. Okay, this one have a use state, but this handling set person to person first recount. It's a lot, not gonna lie, it's a lot. Alright people, learn to rate these things because they are so useful in the future. This simple code may be very useful in the form submitting and stuff. Updating nested object. I think I already did this before. This gets wordy, but it works in many cases. Try immer. Run and add immer as dependencies. Then replace import user. Yeah, this was already mentioned earlier. Notice how much consists immer handler have become. You can mix and match use state and use immer in a single component as much as you like. Immer is a great way to keep update handler constant, especially if there's nesting in your state and copying objects leads to repetitive code. Alright, if there is if else. Hey, there's no if else here. Just simply displaying what's in here. Alright, let's leave it to that. Challenges? No, I'm not doing challenges, man. This form have few bugs. Click the button to increase the score, but notice that does not change. Then edit the first name and final and the last name, and notice the score completely disappeared. Chance to fix all these bugs. As you fix them, explain why each of them happens. First of all, this is a default value. And second of all, what am I giving scores for? Let's look at the codes first. I get a feeling this is a simple value. Even the button is not working. Wait, it's not returning anything. It's not returning anything in the bottom. There's a return option. You're supposed to display it on the bottom, no? Huh? What did they fix? Oh wait. The problem with the handle perfect was mutated. That muted the player object. As a result, React did not know that there's a reason to re-render and did not update the score on the screen. This is why when you edit the first name, the stat got updated, trigger a re-render, which also updated the score on the screen. Problem with the last name was it did not copy existing player fields in a new field. This is why the score lost after you edit the last name. But this one does not make sense. They're just inputs. On change, nothing happens. Alright, there's a draggable box. The box colors the input when there's a box initial position. Why the background color moving after color change? If my guess is correct, the background position is initial position. This should change to relational or fixed. That example is not here. Oh wait, here absolute and relative. Precision, absolute. Found it. This is what happens if you're not experienced. Now, whatever you do, it will not change. I'm smart. Please tell me I'm smart. Show solution. The problem was the handle initial shape position, the same with the background. And then we would note that plus is an invitation. So you need to rewrite plus operational. What? I just changed the background position to the same. Dude, that is so ridiculous. How I come up with a different type of solution and they are showing a different type of solution. That is ridiculous. I literally came up with, I literally changed the initial position to Never mind. Wait, what happens if I change the absolute to relative? Doesn't change anything. Because it's no longer initial position. Okay, what they did is initial position points at this is my house, respect my images. So the change doesn't reflect on the screen until unrelated update changes the color and triggers re-render. This the fix is to remove the mutation handle move express index copy. The shape note the plus is mutation, so you need to rewrite it to a regular. Oh, well, I fixed it in a different way, but it's alright. It's also another fix. Update an object with immer. I'm gonna simply skip it because why are they literally putting immer every time? I'm not gonna use immer. I'm just gonna use state. It's the same thing. You need to change the shape state variable to use it. What am I using it to change? Just change the old one and it doesn't change anymore. Oh shit. So reader with immer. Notice how I want to. Dude, that is so crazy. They literally give you the correct and they literally make you change it to correct. But it was shifting, no? In the early it was shifting. Alright. That's very clever of them if you ask me. They literally give you something and I don't know why I have this opened in the background. I should close it. Because the reason I opened it to copy paste the code and see the results, but they're literally giving us the stack something to experiment, play around with it, so it's not needed. Anyway, let's move on to you will learn how to add remove changes items in React chain. Update object inside of an array, how to make array copying less repetitive with immer. Alright, push will mutate an array which you don't want. This is an interesting one because just get added to below and it's not re-rendering because the artist name just gets added instead of creating a new array which contains an existing item. New item at the end. Multiple ways to do this, but the easiest one is to array spread. use state and array gets put in there. Oh, you simply put this and it becomes an array. It, it was working correctly too. There was no error. Value name, but they changed it here to ID name plus plus names equal to plus. But here they didn't do that. They just put ID. They both working correctly, by the way. I don't know what they fixed or what they changed, but they're both working fine. There's no need to change anything. There's no need to copy anything. Maybe this was an error or something that existed in the previous version, but now it's kind of fixed or something. So the stack literally shows that everything is working fine. Removing from an array, transforming an array, delete, delete, delete. But if you just reload it, it will show it. It's not like it affects the code, it just affects the display or re-render. Anyway, on click the shapes. This is kind of interesting code, but I just say circle at this and square it here, and on click on click square return nothing, else return shape y shape plus 50. So on click move down circle shape is equal to circle, and if I remove this code, okay, never mind. Does show minus 50%? Do they come up? Oh, they're still going down. Where's the additional? Oh wait, now they will come up, I believe. Yeah. I guess this is the one, but I don't think if else statement is necessary here, but if I put this here, will there be any changes? Okay, you know what? Never mind. Let's not touch with this. This is not something we should waste our time on. Replacing an item in array. I believe this whole section is going to be array. Plus, 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 plus. It's literally changing the array, but it does not change anything. It's just a display, okay? This is just an array display, and we can literally do this in any other ways. This is just an example that arrays can be changed, and these are the code to change the array, because in one simple code, and we are literally showing what's changing. And if my guess is correct, instead of doing this, you can just literally declare one and you just render it 3 times, and React will render it 3 times, because we learned earlier that each render has a different type of memory. So if you put one and you just call it 3 times with return, it will call it 3 times. Actually, that they have done something similar here, because everything starts from 0, and these buttons are here, and each array, each buttons will be shown. For example, if I put another 0 here, it will be displayed here. Oh wait, what? Is there any place they have mentioned the counters? There's a button here. Why there's only 3? Initial counters. Oh wait. Still not shown anything. Still no changes. Okay, weird. You know what? Let's not waste our time on it. Inserting into an array. Remember, these are not actually real insets. These are just displaying it here. I mean, you're displaying values from here, and you're literally displaying another value. So yeah, these array may look a little bit complicated, but in reality, it just calls the name in the array, and it displays it here. But when you click inset, it literally just insets the array. Wait, why the name just gets in here instead of on the bottom? Insert ort could be any index. Okay, like I said, let's not dwell on it, because this one is a complete go. Let's just look at the reverse button. List map artwork ID artwork. The button function: on click, handle click, constant, next, reverse, list, next list, reverse. I guess reverse is the function here. Here you use list spread. Syntax to create copy of the original array first. Now that you have copy, you can mutating methods like next click reverse, next click sort, or even individual items. Although next list and list are two different arrays. Okay, updating object inside arrays. Objects are not really located inside arrays. They may not appear to be inside in code, but each object in an array is separate value to which the array points. This is why you need to be careful when changing in that step fields like list 0. Okay, interesting. The problem in code is like this: constant array, my next list, find a artwork scene next scene. Although my next array itself is new, the items themselves are the same as the original my list array. So change artwork scene changes the original artwork item. The artwork item is also in your art, which caused the bug. Bugs like this can be difficult to think about, but thankfully they disappear if you avoid mutating states. I see. With this approach, none of the existing states are being mutated and the bug is fixed. You see, it's not exactly a bug, it's just a two different array with the same name. You can just simply call it again. Like I said earlier, if you call this again with the export list, and they both will have different values. Here it has value because this is our beginning with a checkbox. So if you're not showing the result with the checkbox, you may have a different thing. But anyway, write consist update logic with immer. Same code, people, same code, but just they did with the immer. Now with immer, mutation like I was saying, everything is okay. I get a feeling the reason they're requiring immer so much is because there are certain small bugs that's mutating bugs. If you use immer, I believe those mutation bugs, the data changing constantly from one to another when re-rendering, will be fixed if you use immer. I need to read the immer out later a lot, so for now let's focus on completing and looking at every feature they have mentioned in the React. And once we finish, and we will be making our own website as we want. If we need any feature, we're simply gonna Google it, or you know what, the best next thing is ChatGPT. You just can ask the AI to give you answer, and it will give you answer. Handling plus logic plus it is corresponding number, but it's not doing anything. Count, product count. On click. Product ID, no, not product ID, product count. What are you doing? It's still not working though. Still not working. Okay, maybe product ID was last. Huh? This changed to something changed. Let's reset it and see. Yeah, it was one and something all of a sudden changed. I don't know why. If my guess is correct, const use ID set. That's the only thing missing. Increased product. Where's that function? There's no such a function here. Products count is equal to product count plus plus. No, it's not working. Oh, never mind. Oh my god. My brain is kind of empty now. You can use the map function to create new array, then create a copy of changed function in the new array. What they have did is, yeah, they did here. If product ID, return product ID, count product count plus 1. I also return product, and there we go. There's a simple way to do it, but they have done it in a very hard way. Let's move to the next challenge. Remove an item from the cart. The thing is, all I have to do is make a copy this. Where does this end? Oh, it ends all the way. Damn. Decrease count minus 1. Damn. Minus 1. There we go. We got our product. And same as this, the button on click. This button gets, but instead it gets, wait, what? Something's missing. I'm gonna literally copy the whole button. Do I have to copy the whole button? Oh wait, the button is, where does this end? Wait, I'm gonna just literally copy the whole button and paste it here. And this plus changes to minus, and this changes to, not sure if this is gonna work, but let's give it a try. I get 1, I get 2, okay, it's worked. If we can map a new array filter, remove product count set to 0. Wait, that's what I did. Yay! My brain actually worked. My brain actually worked, people. People, my brain worked. I did it. After a long time, I successfully completed one challenge. Let's clap hands for my brain. Alright, rewrite, handle add to do, handle change to do, handle delete to do. In this example, all of the event handler in app.js use mutation result editing to do doesn't work. What we're doing is we are just adding an array, but a bit confused where to start. Now I see something here. The set title is empty? Why? On click you're adding empty? No. On click we are adding the Wait, that's weird. Okay, it's a little bit complicated one, but the thing is, you see add total here. We're importing certain stuffs like task lists and stuffs. And these are all the task lists. This task list, you see here, alright, this is kind of complicated. I'm gonna just click show. So, what they did is in handle to do, you can use array spread index handle change to do. You can create a new array with the map in handle to delete. You can create a new array with filter. I'm a little bit confused what they did here. They say to do, handle to do, but handle to do is an array. Oh, okay. Since it gets add to array, so if you add something, it will be added like this, and it will be displayed here. It's a bit complicated. Ignore that. Fix same thing, but we're going to use immer here because if my guess is correct, this will get changed here as well. With immer, you can write the code in a mutation fashion as long as you're only mutating part of a draft. Immer gives you all the mutations. So mutations are performed on the draft, so code works. You're kidding. You are kidding. Use immer instead of using use state. You just simply use immer and it works. Look, they didn't change anything. Hey, it's not working. What? Okay, they didn't show what they changed. You can also mix match multi-data in the middle approach with immer. For example, in this version, handle is implemented by mutating with immer draft, while hound changes handle to use non-mutated map filter methods. Alright, I'm ignoring this because this is literally way too complicated or not needed for me right now. Alright, anyway, moving on to managing state. And that's the end of this video, guys. This wait, what? Yeah, adding interactivity part 3 was a little bit long, but the explanation they did for few other things were kind of a little bit complicated and stuff. Anyway, now we're moving on to managing state, but it says intermediate. Is that means we will not be able to understand this anything. All right, anyway, I'm ending this video and we will look into it, but if this is too complicated, we will drop it and we will come back to it later.